Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on Arrow Season 8, or the final season. So Arrow is back up and running for this season, which, is always good, and thank God it's here, I guess. Been waiting for it for a while, but this time around it's a bit sad that it's starting, obviously, as I said, because it's the final season, and, we just had our, last ever season premiere for Arrow, but damn, I guess. I never say. Do I ever say damn? Can't remember. I have poor memory. Anyway, damn, what a premiere it was. I mean, what a blast we all had in that episode. That, definitely made a statement for the kind of, I guess, ride that we're on for this season and this final season of Arrow, but also just setting us up for what is to come in just under 2 months' time from now. That, of course, being Crisis on Infinite Earths, the crossover that's been more like 6 years in the making. Which was heavily teased, if not set up, by the wiping out of Earth 2, where Episode 1 took place by a massive wave of antimatter at the end of Episode 1. And oh boy, things are getting crazy now, especially when we got to see, I guess, even more of it in the Flash earlier on in the day before Arrow aired. But in this video, we are going to be going over a bunch of new information and just details for upcoming episodes, and also just some, I guess, feedback around the fallout from episode 1, just a bit of it. Not a lot, but just a bit of it. Also in this video. But of course, throughout the video, if you want to leave all of your various opinions and thoughts in the comment section down below, would be awesome. Interested to see what you guys have to say. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video and you're just looking forward to the rest of Arrow for this season, why not drop a like on it to show support and hype? So the first thing I want to go over is actually something not necessarily directed straight to Arrow. Actually, I guess it's directed towards episode 9 for this season. But anyway, on Twitter, Mark Guggenheim, who was a producer and consultant on the show, posted a sort of mock-up comic cover for Green Arrow and the Canaries, as you can see on screen right now. This is probably going to be the title for the spin-off show, or at least the the spin-off show that we're set to get. Seeing that the title Birds of Prey is probably off limits. The whole premise of the show, at least the setup, is that it's like Birds of Prey. It's an all-female team involving Black Canary. I think it was a year after. They probably could use the title Birds of Prey, but at least for the timing of the spin-off when it's coming out, it's just a few months after the movie's coming out and stuff like that, so there's probably issues there, which I can completely understand. Now, for those who don't know, episode 9 for this season will essentially be a backdoor pilot. Oliver Queen is not in episode 9, which is super weird for the main character not to be in the second last episode of their show ever. So he's not in episode 9 at all. He'll be referenced for sure. There might be a photo of him, but he's not in it. Like Stephen Amell said, he's only in 9 of the 10 episodes. One of those episodes includes Crisis. So it will be interesting to see the response to it. I have made it clear I don't like the idea of it. I'm completely honest with it. I think Green Arrow is my favorite hero from DC Comics in all comics. Most of you guys would know that if you've watched me for a couple of years. And I don't like the idea of Mia Smoke taking up the Green Arrow mantle. It annoys me. I don't think she's a very good character. I'm going to watch it because I like Laurel, and I sort of like Dinah as well when she's given good writing. But I really hate the idea of Mia taking up the Green Arrow mantle. And I just don't see how they're going to do it. So I'll watch the show to support it in some other ways. We'll see how it goes. But I'm sort of cup half full, if you want to call it. But I have to wait and see until episode 9. Maybe that will change my mind. Highly doubt it, but I'll have to wait and see when it rolls around. But yeah, just some fallout from episode 1. So this is coming from Beth Schwartz, who of course is the showrunner or executive producer for Arrow. She's doing a great job. Now this is just her basically talking about some of the upcoming episodes. So this is a quote from her. In our upcoming episodes, we visit places that we've gone to in our previous seasons, so they'll take place in different locations. I think we only have 1 or 2 episodes actually in Star City. So obviously episode 1 is confirmed to be the only episode to take place on another Earth outside of Crisis, because Crisis, you're going to be going to different Earths, you're not going to be able to avoid that. But every other episode will be on Earth 1. Now we know in episode 2 we're going to Hong Kong. I think episode 7 might be Russia, or episode 6 might be Russia. I think we're going to Lian Yu for an episode. Actually, I think Lian Yu's episode 7. I think Russia's episode 5 or 6 or something. And also we're going to, I think, Nanda Parbat, and Asia in general, in episode 3. So a lot of a lot of globe-trotting, if you want to call it. But, a lot of people, especially myself, thought we might go to different Earths. But I guess if you just get it done in the first episode, make it clear what happens to these Earths in Crisis with the antimatter. I don't think you have to necessarily show it all the time, so I guess it makes sense that they just get it over and done with, show us the effect in episode 1, then just move to progressing the story and what's happening in the rest of the episodes, and just keep it all on Earth 1. But Beth was asked if any of the characters who came back for episode 1 will be back in other episodes, and she said some of them will return. Now, I don't think Josh Segarra will, or Colin Donnell, because they pretty much went to other projects, I think, straight after. But we might see, like, Malcolm Merlin come back. Maybe his mum, maybe Moira Queen might come back as well. And who else showed up in episode 1? Might see just things like that happen. We'll have to wait and see, though. Have to wait and see. But I'd expect Malcolm Merlin definitely to come back. But outside of that, I think it's lucky dip in regards to what characters will come back. But now we're going to move on to some of the episode synopsises or descriptions, as well as some promo images. Now, these are for episodes 3 and 4, which actually, episode 3 will take place elsewhere, and episode 4 will be in Star City. So episode 4 will be one of those episodes that's actually in Star City. But episode 3 is called Leap of Faith. I've accidentally wrote down Lead of Faith, which doesn't make sense. So Leap of Faith is the episode 3 title. This episode is actually directed by Katie Cassidy, who plays Laurel on the show. So Laurel will most likely be absent in the episode completely, or just have a very limited role. So maybe episode 2 might set that up. We'll have to wait and see, I guess, in episode 2 later this week. Reunited with his sister, Oliver and Thea find themselves searching through a familiar maze of catacombs. Meanwhile, John and Lila partner on a special ops mission. So I guess the first thing to say is that Thea is back. Now, we obviously knew that this was the case. Thea was referenced in episode 1. Like, if you watched episode 1 and didn't know the news, you think, oh, okay, they weren't able to get Willa Holland back, so they just made her dead on Earth 2. I think Beth actually answered a question about that. I didn't include it in this video. Sorry about that. But it's awesome that she's back. I think she's back for multiple episodes. I think they've said that she's a recurring guest star this season, so we might get her in like 3, 4 episodes, something like that. So Thea's back for a couple of episodes, not just this one. But there is some promo images. Now you can see that it looks like they might be in Nanda Parbat, like that might be the catacombs, like the underworld, if you want to call it. And like, I guess the innards and the under innards, is that a word? I don't know. But like underneath Nanda Parbat, it might be just where they bury people and stuff like that, certain catacombs. Looks cool. I like the setting and stuff like that. And obviously this is like Nanda Parbat is in Asia, like mid-Asia or something like that. I don't know, somewhere around there. It's in Asia, I know that. But we also have Athena from the Thanatos Guild back in this episode. You can see her in some of the promo images, and she was also in one of the trailers. And also we have Talia al Ghul, who once again was in one of the trailers, and you can see in some of these promo images as well. Now, I think they're looking for like a scroll or something. I don't know what they're looking. I'm trying to think if it was mentioned. I think that they're looking for something, and I'm wondering if they are in Nanda Parbat. Do you think that maybe they're at like the tomb of one of the Ra's al Ghuls? That'd be interesting. It might make sense that while Talia al Ghul is there as well, and also maybe Athena from the Thanatos Guild is there. Maybe it's the body of Malcolm Merlin from Leanne Yu from the end of season 5. That'd be interesting because of like what the Thanatos Guild was like. They saw Malcolm as their leader and stuff like that. So that might be what's happening here. It'd be interesting. Let me know what you think in the comments. In regards to John and Lila, Lila will be in episode 2. I think they might be setting up her Harbinger stuff. And I think actually in this episode, they make it clear. I think I read something that like they really push along Lila's story about the Harbinger stuff, like reveal some of her backstory. So keep an eye out for that in episode 3. But now we're going to move on to episode 4, which is called Present Tense. Now, this is a very interesting one, and I think it's probably what I put in the title, at least the features of it I put in the title. When a mysterious new Deathstroke appears in Star City, Oliver and Team Arrow insist on taking down this villain themselves. Meanwhile, reeling from the loss of one of their own, the future Team Arrow figures out a new way to try and stop JJ, who is John Diggle Jr., for those that didn't know. So as I said before, this is one of the episodes that will take place in Star City. Be interesting to see if like Oliver Queen makes himself known or not. I'll have to wait and see, I guess. But I guess the big thing is new Deathstroke. Who is this mysterious new Deathstroke who's popping up in Star City? Is it Iris West? Is it Curtis Holt? Is it Bebo? No. And this is weird because Grant Wilson really in this universe is young. I think from memory he was born around the time that Slade Wilson got lost in Leanne Yu. So he should really only be like maybe 17 at the oldest, maybe 15 at the oldest. But he's the one that's coming back. Grant Wilson is, according to IMDb, which is pretty spot on for actors being involved in shows, at least when it comes down to like descriptions of shows, those can be altered by the public, but usually with the actors being involved, it's pretty rare you get a false casting. And he's actually on IMDb to be reprising his role as Grant Gustin. The actor is Jamie Andrew Cutlet. who played Grant Wilson on that Legends of Tomorrow episode, Star City 2046, I think it was, 2046. So he's back for this episode, apparently, according to IMDb, and he will be this new Deathstroke. Like in 2046, he looked the same, obviously, so I wonder if he's going to be brought back through time by the Monitor? Because if it's like, how would this new Deathstroke appear, especially if Grant Wilson's meant to be much younger, and it's not Joe Wilson, because he wouldn't be a new Deathstroke, because he was like that in Elseworlds last season. So I wonder what's going on here. Maybe it might be setting up how Mia might come back, because if you don't know, Mia's going to be in a crisis, she's going to be time traveling, and most likely that spin-off show is going to be set in present day rather than the future. I guess we'll have to wait and see. What are your thoughts on Grant Wilson coming back as Deathstroke? Do you like it? Are you a bit confused by it like I am? How do you think he's coming back? Let me know. Also, Curtis is back in this episode, if you cared. Now, the synopsis does allude to like maybe a member of future Team Arrow dying or being killed. So I wonder, in episode 2 synopsis, I know this is 2 episodes after that, but it does say about Connor Hawke having like a heart-to-heart talk with his brother, who is JJ or John Diggle Jr. or, you know, the leader of the Deathstroke gang. So I wonder if that might, like, episode 2 might allude to that happening, and then episode 3 actually has that happening, and maybe John Jr. kills Connor Hawke, or maybe Zoe. It's not going to be Mia, obviously. It could be William, and maybe it's William. I don't know what they can necessarily do with William going forward, because Mia's the only one that's safe, because she's going to come back in time anyway. So we'll have to wait and see, but someone's dying in the future, apparently. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it from the video. If you enjoyed it, it would be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show your support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions on what we went over. What do you think about the new Deathstroke coming in? Do you think it makes sense with Grant Wilson? I think he's time traveling, but if you have any other theories, let me know in the comment section down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.